long shot. He was standing right there. Yeah. Come down over there. Come down the creek. Across the creek and walked in right there. I shot him right there. You can leave one more. Just as I shot him, lurched forward. Alright, look what I got here. I think we're going to call him a 3-point. Yep, 3-point. Tell you what, I was glad to get him too. Glad to see him come in. Felt like I was on a long dry spell. Made a hunt yesterday evening on some coyotes that I had hunted on before, and I really wasted a hunt. They were too far gone, but I got in there and I decided I'd go ahead and take a chance on it, and it didn't work out that good. It's the first evening I hunted this year that I didn't have a deer, that I didn't see a deer or have a deer under me, and a little disappointed in that. I had a place I was going to hunt this morning, and it was a long walk. It was like a 40-minute walk into it. I had checked it last week, and I got in there just at daylight, and it was dead. I'm talking about it was over with. It wasn't anything left. So I walked out looking at some other stuff, and I had to do something, so I come in and hunted on a place I'd been hunting before and seeing deer, but they've been coming in scared, and I sat on it from 8:30 to 11:30 this morning, and I think it was a quarter to 11. I had 7 deer walk past me, but they were about 45 yards out, and they were traveling. They wasn't thinking about getting on those acorns that had been falling. And so I got down, and you know, when you walk the same place every time, you see the same thing every time. So I decided to walk a little bit different. Walk an area I hadn't walked before. So and it paid off. I come out a different way, made a great big circle and hit a boundary line, and come down the boundary line. When I did, I hit a big cluster of coyotes. I think there's about 12 of them in a bend of the creek. And good gracious, it had about 8 scrapes on it. All the bushes all hooked up and tore up. It's up against a cut over thicket on one side, and then big woods that go a long ways on the other side. So you know, it's a real vast area in here, and the deer had been tearing it up, and it's still prime. In fact, it's at its peak right now. So I found it about, I don't know, sometime after 12. So I walked on out and got me a sandwich and cleaned up and come on back in here, and I was in a tree at the 2:45, and this deer here come in at at 4 o'clock. And it had been really, really good for videoing, but I didn't even fool with it. I was hungry for a kill, and I've been having such bad luck and everything. I said, you know, I got to just go ahead and kill a deer. So I didn't set up, but it was perfect. He come in from the opposite side of the creek, from the big woods across the creek, come up on a little sandbar, and it was really a long shot. The deer was only 17 yards from me, but I was up really high in a tree, and then the ground dropped off down the creek, about a 4-foot drop off, and there was a sandbar, and he was on that sandbar, and he looked a long ways off, but he was broadside, and I probably could have waited on him to get a little closer and get up on that bank, but I had a lot of confidence in the shot. I thought I could shoot him, and I made a real good shot. And the only thing is, just as I shot, he kind of lunged forward, and it hit him a little bit far back. In fact, it hit him up high in the backbone and broke him down. His lunge turned into a nosedive, and he hit the sandbar and fell off in the creek and thrashed around in there. And I got my camera out and showed him a little bit, and then I climbed down, went and cut his lung out and drug him on out of the area, and I got back to see what else I could see. And I had some coons come on me in, but this was the only deer I had come in. But I shot him about 10 minutes after 4, and he didn't go anywhere. That's the 3rd one I broke down this year. And it's a good hot tree. I might come back in the morning. I don't like all this disturbance. I'm not very far from, in fact, I can hear acorns dropping over there now. But I'm not too far from it, but now, but I'm gonna go ahead and get him out and think about it. I might come in here in the morning and see what'll come in. It's a good hot tree. It really is. But I guess that's enough. Alright, this is where I shot that spike from yesterday evening. I was sitting right up there. Came back in this morning before daylight and got up in the same tree. And I had 3 deer come back in from that way over there where that thick stuff is. It's a old cutover out there in a real swampy area. And it's a lot of deer in there. And they came out of that and come right in here. And I had 3. I had one stand here where I'm at, and I had one about right there. Well, the other one was standing right here. And then I had another one that come up in there. Now you gotta remember, I'm sitting up there. So I had 3 deer inside 20 yards and 2 of them inside 12. But I didn't have a good shot. And the one standing, see that big tree right there? Well, the one I shot was standing like right here. And the one over there spotted me, looked up and saw me, and whirled and run out. When it did, the one standing right there started looking up in the trees and got real wild. And it turned and went off. And then this one here left and started going just like this. Well, I knew I was running out of time. I was going to have to shoot real quick. So when it got right here, I'm sitting up right there, I shot it right here. And the deer run out through here. I'm gonna show you what it did. Now this is a northeast compass bearing I got on it going out right here. It's going right on out like this. And the deer come, run through here. And run on out this way. What it did, I thought it went that way. There's an old lake out there, and the other 2 deer, I could hear them splashing in the water on out that way, going on that same bearing. But this one here got here, and I lost sight of it, and evidently it cut, and it went up in here like this. And I've been looking for this deer for almost an hour and a half, and I went all over the place. But I got up in here and got to looking, and I picked up some blood right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Some blood on the ground right there. Alright, and I got to following this blood. You can see where I put a little toilet paper down. And she went up. She went right through here. Ow. Of course, I done beat all this down. It was a lot worse than this. Through here like this. I had a lot of trouble finding the blood. Finally I picked up on some more of it. And she went out here like this. Now, all my looking's been out there. I've done, like I said, looked over an hour every direction out there, and I found some jam up cow oaks out in there. I mean, the dearest looking place you ever seen in your life. But anyway, she come right down through here. I had to do a little crawling in here. Right here, I kind of lost it again. I thought maybe she might have went that way, but I checked it all out good and I didn't. So I checked and I picked up blood right down in here. You can see the toilet paper. I found some blood right there. You can see an old lake all out in there. Let me see if I can zoom in and show you that lake out in there. There's an old cypress lake in there. All them deer working around in here. Well, that's probably where those other 2 splashed at. But anyway, back to this. Found blood right here. She cut. She run up alongside here. There's some more blood down on this leaf right there. And right here. And as of now, I still hadn't seen her yet. Found some blood down here. Like this. There's blood through there. I had to crawl in through there, which I'm not. I'm going to take a shortcut this way. Anyway, I got her here. I had my head down. I looked up, and there she is right there.
She probably went a total of 60 yards maybe. The fly, it's hot, it's real warm, got the flies all on her. See, I shot her when she was leaving out. She was quartering away, and I shot her on an angle like that. Hit her a little high, but she done started kind of hurrying. She wasn't running. I guess you could say she was trotting. She was trotting off, and I hit her right in there. Big old doe. Very big old doe. And so now as you see the rest of the story and kind of what I went through. I was really getting worried about her. I thought I was going to lose her. Let me go get my equipment and come back over here and set up our field quarter, and we'll talk about it just a little bit more. After hunting that and killing that little 3-point yesterday, I got to thinking where all I had to hunt, what place I had to hunt, and where I'd killed him was the best thing I'd had going for me in a long time. I'm talking about it's right on the creek. It's got this dense jungle swamp cut over all around it. It's kind of up in a little horseshoe bend of the creek, and I've never ever remember acorns falling like they falling right there, and they prime too. Squirrels will knock some out, but they falling on their own, and it don't take a wind. Last night when I was field quartering that 3-point, I could hear them falling as it was, just in the dark with no wind whatsoever. But I got back in the tree this morning about I guess 5:45, something like that, and then this deer and 2 more came in probably 6:30. Started eating acorns. They came in just about like I'd figured they'd come. The 3-point come in from the wrong way from what I had planned yesterday evening, but these come in about like I had them figured from this jungle stuff, and they had a lot of acorns to pick up between me and them, even though I thought I was on the primary tree, and gradually they started working their way to me, and it was real open in there. And at one time, these flies are bad on this deer. He's been dead for 3 hours, and at one time I had all 3 of them inside 20 yards. I had the bigger doe. This is a good sized doe, but they had one old humongous doe, and at one time she was probably 18 yards in broadside, and I guess I should have shot at her. I was a little lacking in confidence on the shot. I just wanted something around 12, 14 yards, and then this one here got in like 12 yards, but it had a big cow between me and her. And then another one come around and got 10 yards, but it was underneath a tree, and it was the smallest of the bunch. So I was just patient, and about that time the one under the bush, the smallest one, looked up and looked right at me. I mean, pegged me, looked me in the eyeball. And boy, got all wild. I don't think I was the first bow hunter she'd seen. And anyway, she just turned around and left. When she did, the big one started walking off and kind of paused, and I had a good broadside shot at about 18 to 20 yards standing still, but she was real alert and I didn't want to shoot at her. So I waited, and then this one was behind the cow oak, and it started coming on out, and it started trotting. And when it did, I looked ahead and I saw a little opening right before it just be impossible to shoot. So I had my bow up and ready, so I just went ahead and swung in with her, and shooting instinctively. You don't have to worry about putting no sight pin up like that. You just look, and hopefully the air goes where you're looking at. I looked and drew and anchored and released, and air hit her. And as she was moving, I hit her a little far back. I was shooting for right here, but as she was moving, it's hard to lead anything like that. And I hit her back there, and I got a good angle down in her lungs, and it worked good. I got a bearing of northeast the way she went out, but she hit this big briar patch over here, and she broke back to the west of it, and really kind of turned back this way instead of the other way. The other day I heard him, there's an old lake out there I showed you a while ago, and I heard him crossing that lake. Chow, chow, chow. I thought I heard this deer fall, but I thought I heard it in a different direction than it did, and I very well could have heard it fall over here. I was just right back over there, and sometimes, you know, you get a false bearing out of a noise like that, and I probably did hear and then just got a false bearing. But anyway, I crossed that lake, and I've been looking and looking and looking. I spent probably an hour and a half looking for her before I come back and finally cut some blood and followed in there to her. And all in all, she only went 70 yards. And she'd been dead for a long time, and I was really getting worried about it. I don't like to lose any deer. I hadn't lost one this year. And I figured she was dead. It was just, I was wondering how far she went and what direction she went. But once I got on that blood, cut some blood and got on it, well, it worked out on all right. But I stepped my shot off, and it was 15 yards, and she ran 70. And I shot her at 6:45 a.m. And these flies are about to haul her off. I'm gonna have to get busy and field quarter and get on out of here.